Who were the sons of God mentioned in Genesis? Why do ancient Sumerian texts describe heavenly beings creating humans from clay, long before the Bible existed? And how did two civilizations, separated by centuries, tell the same flood story in shocking detail? Tonight, we uncover a mystery that connects gods, giants, and the origins of humanity. Before the Bible, before the pyramids, before recorded history as we know it, ancient texts carved into clay tablets spoke of beings who descended from the heavens. They were called the Anunnaki, gods who walked among humans. Creators, judges, architects of civilization itself. Who were the Anunnaki? To understand the Anunnaki, we need to travel back nearly 5,000 years to ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in what is now Iraq. The Sumerians, one of humanity's first advanced civilizations, left behind thousands of clay tablets written in cuneiform script. And scattered throughout these ancient records is a recurring presence, the Anunnaki. The name itself is telling. Anunnaki translates roughly to those who came from heaven to earth, or princely offspring. In Sumerian cosmology, they weren't just distant gods living in some unreachable realm. They were here, on Earth, interacting with humans, building cities, teaching agriculture, establishing laws. The Sumerian texts describe a complex hierarchy. At the top sat Anu, the supreme sky god, ruler of the heavens. His sons included Enlil, the god of wind and storms who governed earth, and Enki, the god of wisdom and water, credited with creating humanity itself. There was also Inanna, goddess of love and war, and dozens of other deities, each with specific roles and territories. But what's fascinating is this. The Anunnaki weren't portrayed as all-powerful, untouchable beings. They had emotions. They quarreled. They made mistakes. They formed councils and voted on decisions. In many ways, the Sumerian texts describe them almost like an advanced aristocracy managing a cosmic empire. According to these ancient stories, the Anunnaki came to Earth with a purpose. Some texts suggest they needed gold and resources, while others indicate they were simply establishing order in a chaotic world. Either way, they needed workers. And that's where humanity enters the picture. Now here's where things get intriguing. Fast forward a few thousand years, and similar beings appear in the Bible, but under different names. In Genesis chapter 6, we encounter a mysterious passage that has puzzled theologians for centuries. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. Sons of God. Heavenly beings who descended to earth, took human wives, and produced offspring. Sound familiar? The Nephilim, often translated as giants or fallen ones, were described as mighty warriors, heroes of old. The Bible portrays them as powerful but corrupt, beings whose very existence contributed to humanity's moral decline before the Great Flood. Later biblical texts continue this theme. The Book of Enoch, though not included in most modern Bibles, elaborates extensively on these watchers, angels who left their heavenly posts to dwell among humans, teaching them forbidden knowledge, astronomy, metallurgy, cosmetics, weaponry. The parallels are striking. Both the Sumerian Anunnaki and the biblical sons of God are described as beings from above who came to earth, interacted intimately with humanity, shared advanced knowledge, and fundamentally altered the course of human history. Were these the same beings, simply remembered through different cultural lenses? Or were ancient peoples across different regions all imagining similar myths independently? Perhaps nowhere is the connection between Sumerian and biblical texts more obvious than in the story of the Great Flood. Most people know the biblical account. God, grieved by human wickedness, decides to wipe out civilization with a catastrophic flood. But he warns Noah, a righteous man, instructing him to build an ark to preserve his family and pairs of every animal species. After 40 days and nights of rain, the flood subsides and humanity gets a fresh start. But here's what many don't realize. The Sumerians told nearly the identical story at least 1,000 years earlier. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known literary works, we meet Utnapishtim, a man who survives a divine flood sent by the gods to destroy humanity. The god Enki, sympathetic to humans, secretly warns Utnapishtim, instructing him to build a massive boat and save his family and animals. After days of relentless rain, the boat comes to rest on a mountain. Utnapishtim sends out birds to test if the waters have receded. Eventually, he makes a sacrifice to the gods, who smell the offering and gather around. The similarities aren't just thematic, they're specific. Both stories feature a flood sent by divine beings, a chosen survivor warned in advance, a massive ark, saved animals, a mountain landing, birds released to test the waters, and a sacrifice afterward. Even more intriguing, other ancient cultures across the Middle East tell similar flood stories, suggesting either a common source or a real catastrophic event that became embedded in collective human memory. Could the biblical flood story be a Hebrew retelling of the older Sumerian account? Or were both cultures preserving the memory of an actual, devastating flood that reshaped ancient civilization? The connections deepen when we examine creation stories. In Genesis, God creates humanity from the dust of the earth, breathing life into Adam's nostrils. Humans are made in God's image to tend the Garden of Eden and have dominion over creation. The Sumerian texts tell a remarkably similar, yet distinctly different story. According to the Atrahasis epic and other Mesopotamian creation myths, the Anunnaki faced a problem. The hard labor of maintaining civilization was too much. The younger gods, assigned to dig canals, mine resources, and build cities, rebelled against their overseers. The solution? Create workers. The god Enki proposed mixing the clay of the earth with the blood of a slain god. From this divine mixture, humans were fashioned, beings intelligent enough to work, but subservient to the Anunnaki. Notice the pattern. Both traditions place human origins in a divine act involving earth and divine essence. Both describe humans as created for a purpose. Both position humanity between the earthly and the divine. But there's a crucial difference in tone. The biblical account emphasizes human dignity, being made in God's image with inherent worth. The Sumerian version is more pragmatic, almost utilitarian, humans as a solution to a labor shortage. Yet both agree on this. Humanity didn't evolve naturally or appear by chance. We were crafted, designed, brought into existence through intentional divine intervention. Now we enter more controversial territory. In the 1970s, an Azerbaijani-born author named Zechariah Sitchin published a series of books that would spark decades of debate. Sitchin proposed a radical reinterpretation of the Sumerian texts. The Anunnaki weren't mythological gods or spiritual beings, they were extraterrestrials. According to Sitchin's theory, the Anunnaki came from a distant planet called Nibiru. which follows a long elliptical orbit around our Sun, returning to the inner solar system every 3,600 years. These advanced aliens came to Earth hundreds of thousands of years ago, seeking gold to repair their planet's atmosphere. Needing workers, they genetically engineered Homo sapiens by combining their DNA with primitive hominids already living on Earth. Sitchin pointed to ancient astronaut imagery in Sumerian art, descriptions of flying vehicles in ancient texts, and advanced astronomical knowledge that seemed beyond the capabilities of Bronze Age civilizations. It's a captivating narrative that's inspired countless books, documentaries, and television shows. But here's the critical caveat. Mainstream scholars, archaeologists, and linguists overwhelmingly reject Sitchin's interpretations. His translations of Sumerian texts have been called inaccurate, his astronomical claims debunked, and there's no scientific evidence for a planet like Nibiru existing in our solar system. The ancient astronaut theory remains firmly in the realm of speculation, compelling to some, pseudoscience to others. What we can say definitively is this: ancient peoples looked at the sky, saw the stars and planets, and wove them into their understanding of where they came from. Whether those stories contain hidden truths or are simply humanity's earliest attempts to explain existence remains an open question. So where does this leave us? The connections between the Anunnaki and biblical accounts are undeniable. The same archetypal stories, creation, rebellion, flood, divine-human interaction, appear again and again across ancient Near Eastern cultures. Whether these are different cultures remembering the same actual events, mythological themes that naturally emerge from the human psyche, or something else entirely, we may never know with certainty. What we do know is that thousands of years ago, our ancestors carved these stories into stone and clay with painstaking care. They preserved them, copied them, passed them down through generations. These weren't idle tales. They were foundational narratives that explained who humans were, where we came from, and what our place was in the cosmos. Perhaps the Anunnaki were gods. Perhaps they were misunderstood natural phenomena. Perhaps they were visitors from beyond. Or perhaps they were something even stranger, a kernel of historical truth wrapped in layers of myth and memory. The beauty of these ancient mysteries is that they force us to ask bigger questions about our origins, about what we believe, about how history, mythology, and faith intertwine. The tablets are still being translated. New discoveries are still being made. And maybe, just maybe, the full story of the Anunnaki has yet to be told. Because sometimes the oldest questions are the ones that matter most. What do you believe? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to explore more ancient mysteries, subscribe and hit that notification bell. The past is calling. Will you answer?